girls for money.
Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Even if you'd like to be. To them, you're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. But when they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper. See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people.
The Untold Story of Heath Ledger, 5 Things You Never Knew. Heath Ledger. A name that echoes through Hollywood history, not just because of his tragic passing, but because of the brilliance he left behind. His roles were transformative, his talent undeniable, and his energy magnetic. But behind the fame, behind the unforgettable performances, there was a side of Heath Ledger that most people never got to see. In this story, I'm going to take you deep into the life of Heath Ledger and share 5 things that almost nobody knows about him. These aren't just random facts, these are stories that reveal the man behind the legend. Some are shocking, some are inspiring, and some might just change the way you see him forever. So sit back, listen closely, and let's dive into the untold story of Heath Ledger. 1. The hidden meaning behind his name. Most people never stop to think about the significance of someone's name. But for Heath Ledger, his name was no accident, it had a deep literary connection. His parents named him after Heathcliff, the passionate and tormented protagonist from Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. If you know the story, you know that Heathcliff is a character full of contradictions, wild, romantic, obsessive, and deeply misunderstood. Sound familiar? It's eerie how much Ledger's own life mirrored the character he was named after. Just like Heathcliff, Heath Ledger was someone who lived outside the lines. He was intense, full of raw energy, and never fit neatly into Hollywood's mold. He wasn't interested in fame, he was interested in pushing boundaries, breaking rules, and creating something real. It makes you wonder, did his name shape his destiny? Was he always meant to be a tragic genius? Maybe. Maybe not. But it's hard to ignore the parallels between the name Heathcliff and the man who would become one of the greatest actors of his generation. 2. He almost walked away from Hollywood for good. At the height of his career, Heath Ledger was on top of the world. He had starred in Brokeback Mountain, a performance that earned him an Oscar nomination. He had proven himself as more than just a heartthrob from 10 Things I Hate About You. He had arrived. But what most people don't know is that right after Brokeback Mountain, Heath Ledger was done with Hollywood. He hated the fame, the paparazzi, the pressure to be someone he wasn't. He once said, "I feel like I'm wasting my time if I'm not learning something new or creating something new." And Hollywood wasn't giving him that. So he did something that shocked everyone. He turned down massive roles that most actors would have killed for. He was offered Spider-Man, Batman Begins, and even James Bond, but he rejected them all. He didn't want to be a franchise star. He didn't want to be boxed in. He wanted to be an artist, not a product. Ledger moved to Brooklyn, started hanging out with underground artists and musicians, and seriously considered leaving acting altogether. He wanted to direct. He wanted to take photos. He wanted to live life on his own terms. But then, something changed. A script landed in his hands. A script about a character so chaotic, so unpredictable, and so dark that it pulled him back into acting one last time. The Dark Knight. 3. The Joker role took over his life, literally. We all know that Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker was legendary. It wasn't just good, it was haunting. It was real. It was something we had never seen before. But what people don't know is just how deep he went into that role. This wasn't just acting for him, it was an obsession. Heath locked himself in a hotel room for a month straight, completely cutting himself off from the world. He kept a Joker diary where he wrote down twisted thoughts, disturbing quotes, and even lines from A Clockwork Orange. He practiced his laugh over and over until it sent chills down his own spine.
Oh, aha, ha, ooh, he, ha, ha. No!
Real-life psychopaths and criminals to understand how their minds worked. He didn't want to play the Joker as just some crazy villain, he wanted to become him. And he did. Even on set, he would stay in character, messing with the cast and crew in the most unsettling ways, until it sent chills down his own spine. He even studied real-life psychopaths and criminals to understand how their minds worked. He didn't want to play the Joker as just some crazy villain, he wanted to become him. And he did. Even on set, he would stay in character, messing with the cast and crew in the most unsettling ways. Michael Caine, who played Alfred, once said that when he first saw Ledger as the Joker, he forgot his lines because Heath was that terrifying. But here's the part that most people don't talk about. Heath Ledger was so deep into the Joker that he struggled to pull himself back out. He couldn't sleep. He took sleeping pills just to get a few hours of rest. His mind was racing, his energy was off, and he had become a prisoner of his own creation. And tragically, just a few months after finishing The Dark Knight, he was gone. 4. He was a secret chess genius. Here's something almost nobody knows. Heath Ledger was obsessed with chess. And not just in a casual way. He was a chess prodigy as a kid and even competed in tournaments in Australia. He wasn't just good, he was brilliant. He had the kind of strategic mind that could see 5, 6, even 10 moves ahead. And here's where it gets even crazier. Right before he passed, Heath Ledger was working on directing a chess movie. He had written a script about the world of underground chess hustlers and was planning to make it his directorial debut. That movie never got made, but it tells you something about who he really was. His mind was constantly working, constantly strategizing, constantly creating. He saw life the way he saw chess, always thinking 3 steps ahead.
I was sitting in Gordon's cage. No, I didn't rig those charges.
Your man, your plan.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things.
And maybe that's why he struggled. When you're always in your own head, always trying to outthink the world, it can be exhausting. 5. The last words he ever said to his sister will break your heart. The night before Heath Ledger passed away, he was on the phone with his sister, Kate. She was worried about him. He had been struggling with sleep, taking too many prescription pills, and just wasn't himself. She told him, "You have to be careful. You need to stop mixing these pills." And Heath's last words to her were, Katie, I'm fine. I just need to get some sleep." That was the last time anyone in his family ever spoke to him. The next day, he was found in his apartment. Gone at just 28 years old. The legacy of a legend. Heath Ledger lived fast, burned bright, and left us too soon. But in the short time he was here, he changed cinema forever. His performances weren't just acting, they were something deeper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
I only have one question. Where is
Harvey Dent.
He wasn't afraid to take risks. He wasn't afraid to be different. And in a world where everyone is trying to fit in, Heath Ledger was fearless enough to stand out. And maybe that's why we still talk about him today. Because legends never die. What do you think? Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's greatest legends.
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No. No, you complete me.